Welcome to Commercial Street Pedicab's Pedicab Training. Pedicab Training. Welcome to Commercial Street Pedicab Training. By the end of the video, you should know some basics on how to become a successful pedicab driver in Provincetown.
It's the money.
So riding a pedicab, you need to have a basic understanding of the operations of the pedicab and the mechanics, just so that you kind of know how it works. Okay, so let's talk about some of the operations that you'll see on the handlebar in front of you. Your left brake is a hydraulic brake that squeezes onto a disc underneath the back of your pedicab. You have to pump this brake a couple times for it to stop the pedicab completely. Squeeze once on the right brake to slow down to a comfortable and safe speed that allows you to quickly pump one or two more times if you need to stop really quickly. The back brake, or the one on the right, you need to use 80% of the time. The left brake for the front, you need to use 20% of the time. And that's just kind of a general, ratio. Okay, if your brakes are not working properly or they feel spongy, you need to make sure you let a manager know immediately so that we can take care of it. Always use your blinkers and always remember to turn them both on and off because you have to switch it back down to turn off. We all will forget this sometimes, so just make sure we remind each other. Just make sure you're always using them because it's super important that we use them. We're on the street, so people need to know where we're going. If the blinker switch is sticky or it's not moving, never force it. It's a quick and easy fix and I can fix it. Just don't force anything. So hand signals, let's talk about hand signals. Hand signals, right is like this. Left is straight out. You can use either hand or either arm. To merge, you go down this way. And to stop, make sure that you're using these during the daytime, as blinkers cannot be seen as easily during the day. Let's talk about the shop. So before you leave the shop every day, check your nuts and bolts. Check to make sure your fiberglass trim is up. And make sure you turn your lights on or off if it's daytime or nighttime. Always make sure that you're mentally able to focus on pedicabbing. View. You should know what's going on in front of you, behind you, and to both sides of you at all times. 360-degree view. If you're a little drunk, you're a little tipsy, having a little fun, do not take the pedicab out. Let's talk about the specific regulations and requirements for operating a pedicab on the 5 main streets in Provincetown. Commercial Street, Bradford Street, McMillan Pier, Route 6, the National Seashore. Let's start with McMillan Pier. Thousands of potential profitable rides get on and off the ferries all day long for McMillan Pier. This is a huge source of revenue and should be a priority for you, especially during the day. As you travel down McMillan Pier, you'll notice a speed sensor on the Harbor Master's office. That is there for a reason, and you should always follow any signage like this and stay below the speed limit. There's usually a Harbor Master at the crosswalk directing people where to go. Always listen to any directions given to you by the Harbor Master. The taxi and pedicab line is to the left side of the road, just before the 2 handicap parking spaces, which we are not allowed to block. Always park at the end of the line, even if there are taxis in between pedicabs. If you want to chat with your friends, put your parking brake on like you always do, and walk over to chat with them until the ferry arrives. Never cut in line in the taxi line. People get crazy about it, so let's just be respectful there. Commercial Street. Okay, Commercial Street is a one-way street. There's a lot of different types of traffic on Commercial Street. Pedestrians, bikes, pedicabs, and cars all travel on the street at the same time. There's a certain type of flow that needs to happen between all of these factors. You should honestly never really be in a hurry to get anywhere on Commercial Street. Use Bradford Street. The motor should only be on setting 1 or 2 while on Commercial Street, never above 3. Never use beluga horns on Commercial Street for any reason. Our pedicabs have some pretty loud beluga horns. These are only for if a car pulls out in front of you or something, you know. It should only be used on Bradford Street and only in appropriate situations. There's a specific way to park pedicabs along the 3-mile stretch of Commercial Street. Always park with 2 wheels on the curb. One of the main areas that pedicabs park is in front of Town Hall. There's a fire zone that no one can park in. There's a section where you can park. There's a section that is not allowed and is reserved for tour bus during the day and taxis at nighttime. If it says no parking, you can park there. You know, you can wait for rides or do whatever you're gonna do, you know. If you are stopped, have 2 wheels on the curb, put on your parking brake, you're good. Be careful. Sometimes cars will be parked on the side of the street and you never know if somebody's in there and they're just gonna like open their car door on you. So just go slow, make sure you're very cautious around cars and people. Always make sure that you're checking back, looking back at yourself behind you. I'll show you how to do that. You know, everyone's a tourist, so you know they're acting like tourists, but you just have to be patient, take your time, go slow, be cautious, and be respectful, you know, and we'll make a lot more money that way. Bradford Street. Welcome to Bradford Street. Bradford Street is a 2-way street with mostly cars and bicycles, allowing for slightly faster speeds. Remember the flow that I talked about on Commercial Street, where everything just kind of needs to flow together? This is super important on Bradford Street. You're considered a slow-moving vehicle in Provincetown. Not only is it required, but it's also very easy to pull over for cars on Bradford Street. Sometimes you don't even need to stop completely, and you can do a roll with your blinker on to allow a car to pass you, but you should always listen 360 degrees for cars, bikes, pedicabs. Always let cars pass. There's a big hill on Bradford Street that's pretty big. People like to fly down that hill sometimes, and it's really unacceptable. There's a crosswalk at the very bottom. There's a lot of cars. There's a lot of things that could go wrong. If you use your right brake and you just pump it once, you'll get a nice controlled speed all the way down the hill. You'll just kind of glide down, and it'll feel really good to just be fully in control of your pedicab with both hands on the handlebar. Never speed down that street. It's not safe. It's not fun for your passengers, and you know, it's not safe for you. So it's the money, it's the money, it's the money, yeah. It's the money, it's the money, it's the money, yeah. Route 6. Route 6 is pretty quick and easy, just don't go there. Don't go on, to, through, or around Route 6. Just literally don't go there. It's completely forbidden. You can't even go across it by town ordinance. If you get a ride that requires you to cross this road, you have to go to Route 6, and they can either come to you if you're picking them up, or you need to drop them off there and then they can continue to their destination. So do not use Route 6. The National Seashore. It's the money, it's the money, it's the money, yeah. Okay, so just to clarify this, because it will come up at some point. Commercial Street Pedicab has exclusive access to go to Herring Cove Beach on the Cape Cod National Seashore. This does not include Race Point. Why? Because you can't cross Route 6, remember? If anyone asks, let them know that you have the clearance and to call me with any issues, but just make sure that you remember not to go to Race Point. Seashore, we do tours. If you want to become tour certified, ask me, and we have a separate tour training video that I can show you, and you can become tour certified. Okay, so let's talk about violations. So the town issues violations to pedicab drivers. Each reported violation is a $200 fine to the pedicab operator listed on the violation. Unfortunately, the taxis and other random people in regular cars will stop in the middle of the street to try to get you to pass, or do other stunts in order to record you with their cell phones and report the violations. It happens all the time. So if you just follow the rules, then there won't be a problem. So, they might be doing something stupid, but if you know you're not supposed to pass them, you just don't pass them and there's no violation. Foolishness aside, there's a lot of legitimate violations that are reported by Provincetown police and other officials. Please follow the rules and be patient, especially on Commercial Street, so you do not get stuck with one of these fines.